Well, it's been a long journey. I'm gonna get into great detail on that on my other channel, but right now I want to talk about movies. Today, well, recently, I just purchased the early release of a few weeks back I purchased the early release of SHAZZAM, and I recently got to watch it due to having some free time, and I want to talk about it. And I'm gonna tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, what I would change if I could, and my thoughts, my overall thoughts, basically on the film. Um, well, editing was good. Cinematography was great. The acting kind of confusing, which I'm gonna get into that in a little bit. The director, he did a good job. I mean, considering he's done stuff like from Annabelle, etc. And but I've never actually seen the Annabelle franchise, but he's done a good job. Um, and he did a good job here. Well, and the acting was pretty good for the most part. There were some parts unsure about, like I said. For example, with both actors, you have both actors trying to, one representing the kid Billy. You got one representing SHAZZAM, and it's interesting because watching it kind of reminded me of Big, with Tom Hanks, that kind of story, but a little different. Because at first it starts off, and what it's mainly about as well. Because at first it starts off like this kid who's supposed to be Savannah. Um, he comes from a real wealthy family, and gives it proves to you. It's proof that money can't give you everything. Money can't give you happiness or whatever. And it's proof because this little infant Savannah is like making wishes on Nabal, and his father and his brother are belittling him. And the one thing another thing which is going to come later, which I'm going to talk about later. Well, during that whole argument, he gets sent to the wizard, SHAZZAM, and he's tested. Whether he's worthy enough to be the conduit for the power, if he deserves it. And he fails the test, and it makes him upset. So he's sent back, and next thing you know, he's sent back to his family, and he's basically throwing hissy fit because he was undeserving, and which causes them all to crash and get hurt. And many years later, we go to the main character of the film. Well, sorry, I'm sweating. We go to the main character, and the main character is this kid named Billy. And throughout the whole thing, he's like this whole I'm a loner type. I don't need anybody except my real mother, because it's revealed that his mom abandoned him, and his mom left him. He got abandoned or something, and he didn't understand why. And he didn't understand why. He figured that she lost him in the crowd, and he's been looking for her ever since. He goes as far as tricking the police to show up, and then locks him into I don't know if it's some vault or something, and he hacks their stuff, get the information, starts trying to track everyone down, like track his family down, his mother, and doesn't work, doesn't. And then they catch him. They put him in a home. They finally put him in a home that to see if he'll stay. And what happens is during that time, at first he's like, leave me alone, I don't want to be bothered, get off of me, bother someone else, all this stuff. And then he his foster brother, trying to be there for him, and the foster brother's basically a fanboy of all heroes. He's got Batman's Batarang, Bullet from Superman, and my guess is each of them came from both different films, and he's always wearing these superhero shirts. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I used to do that too, so I kind of find it like he kind of reminds me of me a little bit, because I'm very nerdy to that point. Um, and like as the story's progressing, at first he doesn't want nothing to do with the family. He's just there, you know. He's like, I'm biding my time to get out of here. And you got all these other kids there for some reason. You got an older sister, a bunch of younger brothers, one that's into video games, another that's just by himself. No one knows his shit. He doesn't talk much. And of course, you got his roommate slash foster brother that's the superhero nerd, and you got the eldest sister that's trying to get out of there, trying to get into school. You got the little one that's like trying to latch on to Billy, trying to latch on to the main character, like, hey, hey, welcome here, we love you, and oh, we love you, and hugging him, and he's like, yeah, I don't do hugs, get off me. And like over time, like at first he just, like I say, he don't want nothing to do with him. Even with the bully situation, when they're picking on the brother, on his roommate, and they hear him getting made fun of because he doesn't have a mother. So next thing you know, he defends him, and he leaves, and he ends up going through the same destination. He gets on a train, on one of those subway trains, ends up running into the wizard, and the wizard gives him the same test, and he's like, you know, kind of like the comics, same thing in the comics, which thanks to Variant, because of them, I would not know who this actual character was, or his villain, or anything like that, because I'm not versed in these characters. I'm more versed in, you know, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, those types. I'm not really familiar with him, but I'm a little bit informed due to Variant, so I give him props. Nerd Sync and all that, I give them props. But anyway, back to my thing, and this is when the story kind of takes off to where he ends up inheriting the powers, because he tells him, "Are you worthy or you're not worthy?" And he's like, "Nobody's pure of heart. Nobody's good. You know, nobody will ever be good." And he tells him, "Fine, I'm gonna give you my power, and you can unleash this to potential. You know, the thrones are waiting for for the brothers and sisters. You got to get there." And he's like, "Huh?" At first he's like, "Huh?" And I didn't even understand it when I first saw it, because now getting it digitally was the first time I actually saw it. I've only seen the previews, because I haven't been to the movies in a long time. But there you go. Well, anyway, as time's going on, he when he leaves, he's full on Shazam, and the guy that plays Shazam, he's funny to a point, because I don't know, as I'm more familiar with him through Tangled, because I know his voice. So like throughout the whole thing, I keep expecting him to say Smolder or something like that, or do something. But anyway, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. As the story's going on, he's like freaking out, like he doesn't know what's going on. So he goes home, because all the family's gonna go look for him, and he ends up running into the brother. The brother is freaked out, and he's like, "Hey, it's me." He's like, "Really? Prove it." And he's like, "Remember, you're freaking out about this, and I told you this. You asked me what power I wanted. You said, and I told you I wanted this power. You showed me your bullet, and I took it. Here's proof." And he pops out the bullet. He's like, "It is you." He's like, "Yeah, you need to come out here. And he's like, and they start talk. He goes out there and they start talking, and he's like joking around, and like, I'm testing. Let me test your abilities," and starts testing his abilities. And he basically makes fun of him. He's like, "I was testing you to see if you this or that." And he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna hurt you now." And it's like this, just it's like full on Raiden right there, where he just like touches his fingers, the lightning hits, and he's like, "Dang, I got this and that." So they go, and somebody's getting robbed. As someone's getting robbed, he goes and he takes off, and he ends up throwing, knocking the mugger on the floor. The lady's like, "I'm fine. I pepper sprayed the dude," and he's like, "Okay." But I tried helping you, and he picked up the guy. He's like trying to deal with the guy, and like, "Who are you, sir?" And then they're like, first they don't know his name, so it's like, Thundercrap, Sparkle Fingers, and that was like just entertaining. As it went on, like, okay, so we got to figure out your thing. So they're doing this testing. They're testing out what he has, you know. flight, durability. They're throwing things at each other. He's testing his powers. It's interesting, and it's just this whole montage, and it's so funny. It's so interesting how he does it. And during all this, while all this is going on, the same boy from the beginning, he's grown up into a man, and he's basically still belittled by his family, he's still belittled by the board because they basically think he's nuts. And throughout day one, he's trying to, find the door to the secret location to get the power. And next thing you know, throughout trying and trying and trying, he's finally able to do it, and he goes. And when he goes, he unleashes the seven deadly sins, these demons, these vices, and they take him as a vessel, and he ends up having basically abilities as well. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go do my thing." The first thing he does is he goes after his family for revenge, because they belittled him. The brother gets tossed out a window, the dad gets tortured, but you don't really see what happens and as this is going on, they're thinking of ways to make money out of what Billy has. And it's so funny because they go and they're like, "Oh, we need a lair." He's like, "What kind of lair?" He's like, "Not near water. We want it like this. We want it like that." And they're just looking at him like, "Y'all crazy, y'all insane." And they're doing all this, and it's funny because throughout the whole movie, there's a bunch of things going on. You got a part where they're pulling out their kids. They're gonna skip school, and in order to skip school without getting caught, Billy transforms into SHAZZAM, masquerades as the dad, pulls them out, and boom, they're set, and they get out and they have fun, and they're still trying to figure out a lot of stuff. And the next thing you know, they don't know if another opportunity is gonna come around about to prove that he's a hero. And next thing you know, there's incidents in a convenience store. When they go to the convenience store, they're gonna get beer, and he's like, "We need an ID." He's like, "Dude, I am the fake ID." And they go, and then there's some robbers in there. They're holding the girl hostage. They're like, "Hey, give us the money." And, "Oh, this is the chance. This is the chance." And they're like, "Okay." And he's like, "Yeah, y'all need to stop doing this. Like, what are y'all gonna do to us? We have the guns." And they're shooting, and it's when they're shooting, it's just like the scene from Superman. Like, just the bullets are bouncing off him, and he's like, "You're bulletproof. You're bulletproof." He's like, He's like, "Really? How do we know? How do we know it's you and not this?" Test him. Shoot him in the head. Shoot him in the head. He's like, "What? What? Are you crazy?" And he shoots him, and he's like, "Shoot it again. Shoot it again." And they're like, "Okay, I'm done. You're in trouble." And they throw him out, and they escape, and they get out of there with a bunch of more goodies and stuff. And it's so funny how it is. And then after all this, as time goes on, nobody's the wiser except for the little girl, the little sister. She discovered it when Freddy discovered it, because they go in the house and it's like all this noise, and they end up going into her room, and she's like, "He's the hero. He's the hero. You gotta stay quiet. You gotta stay quiet." And she can't keep a secret, so everyone's freaking out about it. And as the movie's going on, they're like, the bad guys are like, "We gotta find this guy. We gotta find this guy. He's the one that could stop us. He's the one that could stop us. We got." And all this stuff is happening, and next thing you know, there's incidences where he kind of gets a big head. Because of this whole superhero thing gets to his head. He goes, because as the thing's progressing, gets a big head. He wants this and that. He doesn't really care. He wants to make money. He wants to be powerful. And he's forgetting his family. He's forgetting everybody. And when this happens, it's just all hell breaks loose. It's so weird because at first everyone's looking for him, and the bad guys looking for him and everything, and the foster family's looking for him, and he's still trying to find his mom. He's still trying to find everybody. There's no go. It's hard. It's tough, and I kind of feel his pain, and it's not in that way, but family. Once you have it, it's something that a lot of people need. Family. And it's so funny in the movie how everything happens, because he gets a big head. He forgets Freddy, and they end up having a disagreement, and an incident happens due to Shazam's negligence and causes a bus crash, and he had to save the bus. He's like, yeah, I saved the bus. He's like, yeah, but you caused the problem. And they started fighting and arguing, and and they didn't know that they were being filmed and all this stuff but the reason why he was so mad was because he made a promise. He was like, hey, you're gonna have lunch with me like this, and everyone knew that everyone knew and expected him to show up because the little boy was puffing it up like, hey, I know this guy, and he's gonna come lunch with me. And he didn't show up because he was too busy, like I said, having a big head, trying to make money, trying to do his thing. And it's so funny it's so interesting how that does happen sometimes, where people get big and they forget where they came from, or they forget their families. And that's what happened. He ends up running into each other, they end up fighting and having an argument. And then the bad guy shows up right down there, and he's like, you're the chosen one. You're the one who prophesied to stop me. He's like, who are you? And he's like, oh, you're a bad guy. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna fight. And like, of course, it's the man who got him, and he's beating the heck out of him and messing him up. And he's like, how come you're supposed to fight? You were supposed to be even and all this stuff. And he's like, and he realizes you're a kid. They picked a kid, really, and they start fighting and everything. And it's just hilarious how the fight goes, because when they're fighting, they end up fighting in a mall, and the fight ends up escalating into a mall, and they're fighting, and it's so hilarious because, like I said, there's nods to Big and nods to superhero movies, because like they're fighting in the mall, fighting in the change room is like oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna use this one because there's people outside. It's like, how many? This one's occupied, and they start fighting, and then they end up like he's throwing things at him, like toys and artifacts and things, like, help me, save me, Batman. It's so funny. And when they're fighting, they end up on those keys, and that's why I'm like, big, and they're fighting. As they're fighting, it's so interesting how he gets away. Shazam gets away by turning himself back into Billy and escaping with the crowd, not knowing that he left his foster brother behind. And the bad guy, of course, sees the foster brother, and he's like, and then he sees the TV, and he's like, hey, I can use this kid. So he gets him, captures him, and when he captures him, the little kid's like, super villain, stranger danger. No one cares, so he takes him. As he's taking him, it's so interesting how this happens. And like he finally goes home after they went to go look for him. Like he's headed home, and like, because everybody's looking for him. The foster parents are gone looking for him. He's headed back home. The foster kids are there. They're there and they're worried. They're thinking, and they see the TV, and the older sister's like, okay, everyone's out there looking for Billy. I ran into this guy, and he called me by my name. He knew my situation. He knew about foster care. And she's like connecting the dots, and everyone else is connecting the dots too. Because at first they didn't care. They were just like debating on whether or not this superhero was good. But now they're like connecting the dots. Hey, Billy and Freddy were arguing over the superhero, and yet the superhero knew my name and all this stuff. And then next thing you know, they kind of figure it out, and then the little girl's like, yes, it's true, y'all finally figured it out, yeah. So they're like what? And next thing you know, they're talking about it, and they hear the door, and they think it's Billy. They open it up, it's Freddy with Savannah, and he's holding him hostage. He has all the monsters come out, and they're guarding the kids. And Shazam shows up, and he's like, hey, let them go. He's like, come on, come in here, deal with me, give me the power, and I'll do it. Using them as bait. And it's so interesting how that happened. And they end up like fighting or going at it, and for a while having an argument. And it's revealed that he has that power and all this stuff. And next thing you know, they're able to escape, and they're able to escape because he opens the door. They open the door to the Wizarding Vault and to the Wizard's area. And when they open the door, he's like, okay, if you don't give me the power, I'm gonna kill them. And it's like, okay. So he has the staff. He took the staff from the guy, and he's like, okay, speak the incantation, speak that one word that can give me the power. Sorry, I have something in my. Well, anyways, like as he's about to say it, he smacks the guy. They get out of there. They get out of there, and they're trying to escape, but they don't know how. So, but then he remembers how I got out of there is when the first time I was here, I thought of the subway. So he thinks of something, and it's funny. It's interesting because he ends up at a weird, let's say, Deadpool adult place, strip joint. Okay, he ends up there with the kids, with the family. He's like, really? You couldn't think of anywhere else. Why do you think of that? He's like, it was the first place in my mind. Calm down. And he's just like, why are you uncovering mine? He's like, you're not allowed to look at that. You're too young. And then, it's so interesting how each of them has their reaction to it. And Freddy takes a while to get out of there. Lord knows what he was doing. And it's so funny how they're trying to escape the guy, and he's on their tail. It's like white on rice, like boom, 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 like shoo, like fleas to a dog, like that. He's just after them because he wants the power. He's like, give me the power. And they end up at Santa. I don't know if it was Santa's Village or some carnival fair thing, and they're there. That's when the final face-off shows up. And as that face-off is going on, it's interesting because they're fighting in the air, and it's like they take the fight to the air. It's so interesting how they take the fight to the air. They end up on the floor, and they're fighting, and you just see the kids trying to help. Everyone trying to help. And everyone trying to help, and it's not working at first. It's like the older sister shoots him with a BB gun. Everyone else is everyone else is panicking and afraid, and you got all the other kids trying to run and hide, and the monsters, the sins get them and are holding them down. They're like, hey, okay, you have nowhere to go. You have to give me the power. And then the little boy's like, hey, when he gets rid of, that's when they thought, like, hey, when he gets those things out of his body, he's as weak and frail as any old man. So they do that, but he has one particular one still in his eye, and gets hostage again. He's like, give me the power or they're gonna die. He's like, okay, and he's holding the thing, and as he's holding the thing, the wizard is going in his head, and he's like, okay, I give you my power, open your heart to me, and you can have great power and great strength, be one with family and all this stuff, throw our thrones of our brothers and sisters away. And it's like, it finally clicks. He has to share the power. So he knocks the guy out, frees his brother, and when he knocks the guy out, the things let go of the kids and they go after the guy, and they grab the stick, and he's like, okay, all hands on deck, say my name. And they're like, Billy. He's like, oh, not my name, the name I used to turn into this dude. He's like, okay. And they're like, okay, Shazam. And they're all each of them turn their own version of the character. It's so awesome because like the Shazam, you see the Shazam family, it's just like an awesome moment. And it's so awesome. And like, again, how I'm more related to it based on the cartoons, but more than the comics. But like I said, anyway, back to what happened. It's basically a divide and conquer thing. They stay there dealing with the sins, and it's so interesting how each of them fights them in different ways. You got one kid that's a gamer, and he loves video games and tech and all that stuff. And you just see him like doing Street Fighter movements on the thing with the lightning, and you just see the little girl like moving around, and she's doing her thing, and each of them has their own things. She like saves Santa Claus, and is like, by the way, my name is Son. I was real good this year. He's like, what? And they're saving everybody. They're fighting. And like, you have Freddy. He's like, ooh, you're my first supervillain I've ever fought. Come on. I do every move. And they're like, it's just like a divide and conquer. They're each dealing with the sins on the floor, while on the ground floor, while Shazam is in the air with Zavine and Envy, and he realizes, as they're fighting, it's so funny because they're exchanging banter. It's like, dude, you're all the way over there. I'm all the way over here. I can't hear you. What the heck are you saying? And they go at it. And it's like this. It's like, it's so ironic because this little kid playing with his toys, and the Batman and Superman, and he has them fighting. So as he's fighting with them, it's so interesting that it happened, and he's like, what the heck? What am I playing with these? Am I controlling it? And like, oh man, it was so interesting. And then they start, and then as they're on on the roof and they're fighting, he realizes that's envy. So he's like making jokes about the sins, and he's like he makes fun of envy. He's like, oh man, that little kid, that little thing can't do nothing to me. They don't let him out to play. Oh man, this dude can't do nothing. Come on, envy can't do nothing. And envy's like getting mad like an attack dog. Like, what'd you say to me, punk? And like he just comes out. He comes out, and the guy's weak and ends up almost falling, but he grabs on. He's holding on for dear life, and of course, Shazam deals with him just by grabbing him, saying the name, and boom, turns him to dust, and getting out of there and saving the old man, putting him on the floor. And as all this is happening, it's so interesting that while everyone's fighting, it's like there's different things like they have to. One of them's trying to save the Ferris wheel. The others are like trying to get the hostages out there, dealing with all of them. And next thing you know, finally gets the point, and he's able to remove the. They go back to the carnival, and he's able to remove the eye from the guy and suck back in all the monsters, all the demons. And it's so funny how he makes a joke, and he's like, "Well, I can have any power I want." Yeah, yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, I got you guys," and they're like, "Oh, we have a lair." And after everything's done, they put it back and say, "Oh, we have a lair, man, we have a lair." And the little sister's like, "What the heck is a lair?" And they make a joke, and they go home, and he's finally happy because he has a family. And while the other guy, like, he's finally happy because he has a family. Because I may have skipped over this part, because during all this whole hoopla, when he's there and he's sad and depressed, his siblings found out who his mother is. And this is the sad part, because when he goes to the mother and he tells her who he is, she reveals that she had him when he was young and she didn't really care. She wanted her freedom, so that was her way. She saw her way out, she took it. And that's one sad part for me. And it was interesting, because he's been looking all his life for a family. He finally found it. He finally accepted it. And it's so funny because, like, towards the end of the movie, he finally shows up at the lunch table with his family as Shazam. And it's interesting because he's like, I brought a friend, man, if that's cool. And Superman shows up. Ironically, like everyone said, I found out this out because of everyone else on YouTube, that this wasn't Henry Cavill. I think either he was busy at the time doing something else and he couldn't do it, or they couldn't get him in time, or something of that nature. If y'all know, y'all can tell me in the comments or something. But yeah, and like you got the post credit scenes. Of course, you got the one with the guy. He's in jail and he's trying to get back into the lair of Shazam, but nothing's working. And he hears a voice like whispering in his ear, and he's like, "You think that's the only way you can gain power? I could show you how to gain power like that." And he's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm over here." And he's like in the little gray. It's a little bug. You see a little bug in the beginning of the movie, and he's in a jar, and I think they call him Mr. Mind or Mr. Mind or something like that. Like I said, I'm not really in tune with the comics, with his comics mostly, and it's interesting how, that's one thing, and then like the credits roll, and just the style of the comics is so cool. And the regular credits show up, and like towards the end, they make like a jab to Aquaman, having him talk about fish. He's like, "You'll find somebody. You deserve to be loved." It's like, "You can really talk to fish." He's like, "Dude, no, that's the dumbest power in the world." It's like, "No, you control all types of fish." It's like, "How?" He's like, "Aquaman does." He's like, "He's in the ocean." And like, it's so hilarious, man. And like, just I know that one was just there for fun. It wasn't hinting at anything. It was just done for fun. But like I said, it was interesting. It was but like I said, that's basically the whole premise. And for me, it was about, and like I said, for me, it was about family. It had to do with family. The whole premise, it was made to, like, of course, the two pieces, the DC nerds, the people who are in DC Comics, people who are into this character. And this one was mainly about, family, finding your true family. This is what the film was tailored for: finding your true family, finding your true self, um, your inner strength, your inner courage, what you're capable of, what everyone's capable of. And it's interesting how, I sensed that in the movie when I saw it. Of course, what I liked about it, the editing and cinematography, great. Directing, this guy, I think he did a good job. Sandberg or whatever, Sandberg. He did a good job. Zachary Levi, he did a pretty good job as SHAZZAM, of course. Basically, all of them did a good job in their own way. They all had, of course, they all spent the perfect amount of time. You understood their reasonings. Each of them had their own little quirks. It was good. Favorite scenes I liked, I enjoyed. Of course, my favorite scenes were like the scene, of course, when they help the lady that's being robbed. The just like scenes with with Freddy were hilarious. How he's like, super villain, he's a super villain, he's a super villain. It's so funny. The cinematography, the editing was good. I enjoyed that part. Those things. I enjoyed how I could actually follow the story. The growth of the character, the main character. I understood that. I understood it. How he went from a kid wanting his family, nothing but he'd do anything to get his family back, to realizing that it's been all there the whole time when he got it. It's what he has. That's his family, and he's willing to fight for it, willing to be there for it. He accepted it. It took time for him to accept it, but he accepted it. I love the little nods to Big, to other superhero movies. It was awesome. Those parts I loved. The music was good. I love classic rock. I love oldies. So hearing some of those oldies in there, like the Survivor theme when he's messing around. Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. I love that. Those are some of my favorite songs. Man, just hearing those musics, man, it takes me back to, like, of course I didn't grow up mainly in a decade. It was mostly my father's side, but he raised me on that music, so I love that music. It's one of my favorites. But the music was good. Everything was good about that movie. Certain things I thought were kind of weak. Not to be mean, but I kind of figure the whole, like, when they were joined, how he acted, how SHAZZAM acted, supposed to be superhero, with a kid trapped inside of a grown man's body. For me, it was kind of weird how he acted, but I understand. Not much to work with. But for me, I think Tom Hanks pulled it off a little better in Big, because kid, want to play, want to have fun, and all that stuff. And yeah, they did that in the movie, but for me, that was kind of weak. Could have done a little better. Could have done a little better there. And it's funny because I see that guy and I keep hearing, like I said, I see Chris Levi or whatever his name is. I see him, and it's so funny because I see him and I keep expecting him to say something like, "I'm bringing on the smolder" or something like that. Because Tangled, and or something corny, a lot more corny but entertaining. But most of the stuff was good, but it was a little bit extremely corny for me. I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed the movie. What I would change if that was me, and I don't know. If y'all decide to make a sequel, feel free to run with it. What I would change if I was me. If it was me making this movie, give you talk about the sins. You say that they've been plaguing the world for years. Not that many people are like I said, not that many people, myself included, are that aware of these beings, because all we know is that they've been there for years. They've been harassing and causing problems for many centuries, many millennia. They're trapped there. You can't let them out. If they're out, they cause problems. At least let us see those problems and see what they're capable of. Not just, ugh, hokey monster, destroy everybody, break everything, eat everybody. You know, let us see their power. Let us see it. You know, I mean, yeah, you got the designs of to represent what they look like, but I want to see what they could do for once. Like, kind of like do it like Supernatural did it with the sins, the 7 sins. They had a scene where Envy, you know, touched a girl and she beat up a woman for shoes. Gluttony touched a hunter, and boom, he swallows a jug of drain cleaner or something and he dies. You know, something like that. You know, that would have been interesting to see that. I know time constraints and everything. You want to focus on the main character, main part of the story, get it done. But, you know, do something like that. You know, have Lust come and whisper in somebody's ear. You know, have 2 dudes eyeing a beautiful woman, like chase after her and start fighting over her. Or, you know, have Envy see something that somebody wants and fight, you know, cause chaos. You know, cause problems in everyone. And then next thing you know, SHAZZAM's there and he's like dealing with all these problems. He's like, what the heck is going on? You know, that could have made sense to me. That, because you're demonstrating the power of these beings. You know, I understand what the 7 deadly sins are. You know, I've read the information, but you gotta show it. It would be so awesome if you actually did show it, that they did something like that. You know, that they're capable of that. Just like little bits and pieces. Have Vanish sent them out and do all that, or have them, you know, go and they manipulate one of the siblings. You know, maybe the quiet one, the one that didn't really talk. You know, I gotta admit, when I first saw him, I thought he was upset or he didn't like nobody, or because he looked at Billy like, you know, get out of my face or I'm gonna hurt you type of deal. He could have gotten him, or he could have gotten the Mary, because on account of, at first she wanted to get out. You know, she wanted to get out and live her life or whatever. Have him manipulate one of the siblings, and one of the foster siblings, and have them be on his side for a bit. And he uses that as bait to get him there, and like they're teamed up and everything, and he's like gonna betray her or whatever, or slaughter them or whatever. That point, and right then and there, when he does that thing, he's able to help her or see the error, help them see the error of their ways. They join up with the team, and boom, they kick butt. That would have made sense to me. That's what I would have done if I wouldn't have done this. That's just me, okay. But all in all, great film, good work. Keep it up. I'm really looking forward to the other films. I hope that Justice League gets more, the DC gets more films on the way, because I don't know. I feel that even though, you know, Marvel has all these different possibilities, you know, I feel like DC can pull stuff out too. You know, because I love the DC universe. I love that stuff. I'm a big fan of it because all that, but. Long story short, is the movie good? Is the movie watchable? I gotta say, if you're into superhero movies, yeah, it's for you. I gotta say yes, because I liked it. I enjoyed it, even though I wasn't familiar with the character that much. I only got caught up thanks to, you know, Variant or and NerdSync and Comics Explained. I got introduced to most of these characters through these guys, and I was caught up with that thanks to Variant YouTube, and that's how I was able to figure it out. You know, shout out to them, because watching them, it helped me figure out this movie, because I wouldn't have known who it was. And also another thing I liked about it was, you know, the little Smallville callback with John Glover. But not only was it a Smallville callback for me, because I know he's the voice of the Riddler on the Batman animated series. Awesome. It was just awesome seeing him do this. He's a great actor. You know, he's a good actor, voice actor. You know, give him props for that. You know, I give him props. I give all of them props. But for him, you know, for me, John Glover, even though he had what little time he had, it was good. You know, it was good for me. But the movie all in all, good. You know, like I said, there were some problems. Some problems I had with the film. Some problems some things I did like of the film. Some things I didn't. You know. And And all in all, it depends on you whether you like it or not. I mean, I thought it was decent. I'd watch it. I'd watch it again. I'd watch it as much as I could. But all in all, that's my thoughts on the movie. That's my constraints. Maybe I'll do a rating system as I start doing more film reviews. But this is my first attempt at this. I've never done any of this stuff in a long time, and I will do another video soon to probably talking about why you guys haven't seen me in a long time, what I've been up to. Sorry, I just finished lunch. I mean dinner. Sorry, I just finished eating, and well, anyway, I will leave y'all. I will keep y'all informed on what's been going on with me, what's been happening. I will give you the layout later on. It's just a whole bunch of stuff, but not at this point. At this point, I'm doing a video on a review, and I'm gonna do more because I love movies. And know you. Sorry to say, those who enjoyed my music, I'm kind of done with that. I'm kind of done with the music. I'm not gonna do it no more. And I will explain that in another video from my other channel. I will do a video on that. But here, it's going to be for my film reviews. Again, tell me in the comments, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, please. But leave in the comments what you thought of Shazam. If you were going to make that movie, what would you change about it? What film do you did you like it? Didn't like it? What film do you think I should cover next? Look up, do a review on next, because I'm definitely going to work on something. Well, anyway, I hope y'all appreciate this, and I'm going to get back into doing videos again since I finally got, finally was able to get this off the ground. But finally get this done, and I'm going to be posting more often on YouTube, so y'all can see more videos, and along with other platforms, you could see those too as well. Well, anyway, thank you for your time. Those who saw this, those who are subscribed, thank you for those people that are still subscribed to me. And please be honest, but be polite. You know, on there, don't be rude. Just leave, like I said, leave a comment telling me what you thought of the movie, what your thoughts are on the movie. Did you like it? No. What you didn't like about it, what you liked about it, or leave a comment on what movie I should do a review on next. I'm doing some debates on that, whether I should do one on Spider-Man in honor of Spider-Man Part 1, in honor of Spider-Man Homecoming, which I'm planning to see this coming week. I know it's been out for a while, but I rarely go to the movies. I'm planning to see that one, maybe do a review on it too. So I might do a review on Spider-Man Part 1, or Sam Raimi's Spider-Man Part 1, and Mark Webb's Amazing Spider-Man Part 1 in honor of that down the road. But that's basically what I'm going to start doing on my channel, because this is my new thing. But anyway, like I said, hope y'all enjoy this. Leave your comments, like, subscribe, tell me what you think, and I'll see you guys later.